You won't believe what just happened. Donald Trump, yes, the former U.S. president, has threatened to slap tariffs on any country that doesn't back America's bid to acquire Greenland. Let that sink in for a second. The United States, facing the highest inflation in decades, a crumbling trade position, and allies who no longer trust Washington, is now threatening economic warfare against NATO members. All of this over a piece of land that isn't even for sale. Why does this matter to you? Because this could directly impact your life, your finances, your security, your future. Stay tuned, because in just a moment, we'll reveal why this bizarre, reckless move is far more than just another diplomatic blunder. But here's the real twist. While Trump is out there making these threats, his own Congress is in Copenhagen scrambling to repair the damage. They're desperately reassuring Denmark that America can still be trusted. This isn't just embarrassing. It's the financial mechanics of imperial decline playing out in real time. The question is, what's really going on here? How did we get to a point where the president is at odds with his own government over something as bizarre as Greenland? And why are NATO allies now preparing for a confrontation with the U.S. over this? Stick with me, because this is only the beginning. Now let's look at what actually happened. On January 16th, during a White House healthcare event, Trump made another statement. He didn't just threaten tariffs on countries opposing Greenland's acquisition. He doubled down, saying, I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland because we need Greenland for national security. Think about that. National security. This is a territorial dispute, not a military strategy. But here's the real kicker. While Trump makes these wild threats, his own Congress in Copenhagen is telling Denmark, don't worry, this is just talk. Notice what's missing here, trust. Even the people who are supposed to support Trump don't take him seriously anymore. They're already working behind his back to save face internationally. And here's where it gets even more intense. This isn't just about a few tough words from Trump. This is part of a larger pattern. This is the U.S., once the global powerhouse, acting like a declining empire. And it's not just about Greenland anymore. The U.S. is showing how desperate it's becoming, threatening NATO allies over a piece of land that even Trump's own government doesn't believe is worth fighting over. Just think about it. NATO forces, countries like Germany, France, and Sweden, are now sending troops to Greenland, preparing for a potential confrontation with the U.S. This isn't just diplomacy gone wrong. This is the normalization of something that should not be normal. A NATO member threatening another NATO member with economic sanctions over territorial disputes. The empire is fraying at the edges, and everyone can see it. But it doesn't stop there. The economic implications are even more disturbing. Remember those tariffs Trump has been so eager to impose? The data doesn't lie. According to the St. Louis Federal Reserve, tariffs alone were responsible for 0.5 percentage points of inflation between June and August 2025. Over the course of that year, tariffs explained nearly 11% of America's total inflation. Let that sink in. What does that mean for you? It means prices are already going up because of these tariffs, and it's about to get worse. Consumers, on average, are already losing $3,800 in purchasing power per household. And if Trump pushes more tariffs, as he's now threatening, those numbers could skyrocket. But here's the twist. Most of these tariff costs have been absorbed by U.S. businesses so far, but that's changing. As we head into 2026, businesses are starting to pass those costs directly to you, the consumer. Brace yourself for higher prices at the checkout. Now, things are about to escalate quickly. Businesses are already feeling the strain, and in 2026, it's going to hit hard. You see, American businesses have absorbed about 80% of the tariff costs so far in an attempt to shield consumers. But that's all about to flip. They've already exhausted their pre-tariff inventories, and now they have no choice but to raise prices. That's not speculation. This is happening right now. A lot of businesses, like the ones working with Peacock Tariff Consulting, are already telling their clients, we can't hold back any longer. The cost of doing business is going up, and so is the cost of living. What happens if this continues? We're looking at a steep rise in inflation, making it harder for you to afford the basics. And with Trump's threats hanging over trade relations, the global economy is about to feel the pressure. The real question is, how long can this go on before it all breaks? But this isn't just an abstract economic crisis. It's already affecting real people. Think about what this means for your everyday life. If businesses start passing these higher costs to consumers, you'll feel it at the grocery store, the gas pump, and every time you make a purchase. And it's not just the high-end goods, it's the essentials too. If you're already feeling the squeeze from rising prices, you're not alone. And it's not just inflation either. This instability is spreading into international relations. While the U.S. focuses on Greenland, other countries are making their own moves. Canada just struck a deal with China to cut tariffs on canola, and that's just the beginning. More countries are going to start making these deals as they recognize that sticking with the U.S. is a risk to their own economies. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. You're not the only one worried about what's coming next. Here's the part most people are missing. This isn't just about tariffs. It's about the systems and incentives at play. The truth is the U.S. economy is running on fumes, and Washington's reaction is to double down on the very thing that's causing the decline, tariffs and threats. These actions are a reflection of something much deeper, a shift in power dynamics. It's not just about trade disputes. It's about how the U.S. is using its economic power to try to maintain influence, even as that power erodes. Countries around the world are watching this, and they're making moves to protect themselves. The U.S. has long relied on fear, leverage, and spectacle to maintain its position, but now it's starting to backfire. This isn't just economic policy gone wrong. This is the unraveling of a system that's been in place for decades, and the scariest part, everyone can see it happening. So, where does this go from here? There are two possible futures. First, we could see a continuation of these erratic threats and backpedals. Trump has a pattern of making bold moves, only to retreat when the economic consequences become too much to bear. We've already seen him delay tariffs on things like furniture and Italian pasta, seemingly trivial, but telling of a larger trend. As these economic pressures build, he might start backing off, making concessions to avoid further damage. But there's another possibility. The world could continue to move away from the U.S. as NATO allies start sending troops to defend Denmark, and as countries like Canada align with China, the geopolitical landscape is changing. The U.S. might find itself isolated, losing influence as other powers rise. The path forward is uncertain, but one thing's clear: the world is no longer waiting for America to lead. Here's the real takeaway. Greenland isn't about national security. It's about rare earth minerals, strategic shipping routes, and a desperate attempt to project strength from a position of weakness. And everyone sees it. Congress, NATO, even the world at large. This isn't just about one island. It's about a U.S. that no longer has the leverage it once did. When your own government has to go behind your back to reassure your allies, you're not just losing power, you're losing credibility. The empire isn't just in decline, it's imploding from within. And that's the real story. If you want to keep up with this unfolding crisis and see what happens next, make sure to follow and subscribe for continued analysis. This is only the beginning.